Ladies and gentlemen, gather your attention and steady your hearts, for what I'm about to recount is not the plot of a fictional crime drama, nor the whispers of some Hollywood tabloid. This is real. This is raw. This is the courtroom story unraveling in the heart of New York City, a story that threatens to redefine not just a man's legacy, but the very culture of power, privilege, and silence in the music industry. The name in question, Sean Diddy Combs. Yes, the mogul, the businessman, the icon of hip-hop, who once stood atop the music world with platinum plaques and champagne dreams. But today, in a Manhattan courtroom, he stands under the weight of allegations so grave they send shivers down the spine of even the most jaded observers. We are at the climax of a trial that has pulled back the velvet curtain of celebrity to expose something far more sinister, a web of exploitation, control, and darkness that, if proven true, will mark one of the most explosive downfalls in modern entertainment history. Over 7 harrowing weeks, more than 30 individuals took the witness stand, each voice adding another chilling brick to a structure prosecutors call a criminal enterprise. This wasn't a case built on rumors. This was testimony. This was evidence. This was the shattering of an illusion. From government agents to former girlfriends, from sex workers to hotel employees, the court heard the stories. Stories of sex trafficking, of forced labor, of drug manipulation and emotional enslavement, of victims coerced, groomed, and controlled not by threats alone, but by fame, influence, and psychological manipulation. Prosecutors painted a portrait not of a music producer, but of a man who allegedly used his status to orchestrate a dark underground of coercion and abuse. Charges of racketeering, accusations of transporting individuals across state lines to engage in acts of prostitution, allegations of kidnapping. Words like freak-offs and baby oil became symbols of systematic exploitation, allegedly used to describe organized sex parties involving non-consensual participants. And still, in the eye of this storm, Combs has stood firm, pleading not guilty, denying all accusations. But silence hangs heavy in that courtroom, for the defense rested their case in under 30 minutes, calling no witnesses. They asked the jury to judge the prosecution's narrative on its own merit, nothing more, nothing less. Now, the echoes of these testimonies linger. A woman speaking through tears of how she felt like a prisoner. A former bodyguard, once loyal to the end, describing the twisted normalization of abuse behind gilded doors. A hotel worker recounting what they saw, what they heard, what they could no longer ignore. This is no longer a private reckoning. This is a public moment. A cultural moment. A reckoning for those who once believed that power could bury truth. That wealth could erase memory. That celebrity could erase consequence. And now, as closing arguments loom, the jurors sit on the edge of decision. Their eyes have seen the witnesses. Their ears have heard the confessions, the accusations, the defenses and the denials. They carry the weight of history on their shoulders, for what they choose will not only decide the future of one man, but may ripple across an entire industry and beyond. Because if this case stands for anything, it is this, that no empire is too big to fall. That no name is too sacred to be questioned. That justice, though delayed, must never be denied. There are no more cameras rolling backstage. No beats in the background. Only the deafening silence of the courtroom and the closing of arguments that may echo across generations. This trial has exposed wounds in the entertainment world that many were too afraid to confront. It has ignited difficult conversations about consent, power, manipulation, and the invisible scars left behind when someone is told their body is currency. And while Combs' defense team may have chosen not to speak much, the silence itself speaks volumes. For some, it's a legal tactic. For others, a deflection. But for those whose voices were once drowned out by the booming bass of celebrity, this trial has been a long-awaited microphone. Behind every accusation is a life altered. A survivor. A person who once walked into a room thinking they were safe, only to find themselves trapped in a nightmare scripted not in fiction, but in power's worst excesses. And now, with the courtroom battles coming to a close, the world watches. Will the jury believe the voices that cried out from the shadows? Or will this become yet another chapter where influence outmaneuvers accountability? The answer lies not only in the verdict, but in what we choose to do with the truth it reveals. The story of Sean Diddy Combs, if proven in full, will not be remembered merely as a legal case. It will be remembered as a cultural earthquake. For some, this is about one man's fate. But for many, this is about every survivor who was ever told to stay quiet. About every whistleblower who was threatened, mocked, or ignored. About the music industry's dark corridors where glamour disguises suffering. And so, as we await the jury's decision, let us remember that justice is not only about punishment, it's about listening. About believing. About daring to challenge the illusion. The trial may soon end. But the echoes of these testimonies will not fade easily. They will remain as reminders, of pain endured, of silence broken, and of a world slowly beginning to see what it chose not to see for far too long. Let us not look away. Let us bear witness. For truth, no matter how disturbing, is always the beginning of change.